It was a freezing December afternoon. Snowflakes clung to the sides of parked cars. People rushed in and out of shops, wrapped in designer coats, sipping hot lattes. Inside a glass-walled cafe, a wealthy man stirred his espresso, barely noticing the frost-covered world outside. That's when the door opened, and a thin boy, no older than 12, stepped in. His jacket was 2 sizes too big, his shoes soaked. In his hand, a leather wallet. Expensive, pristine. "Excuse me, sir," the boy said, holding it out. "I think you dropped this outside." The man blinked, confused, then checked his coat. It was his wallet. Every card, every dollar, untouched. "Do you want a reward?" the man asked, reaching for his pocket. But the boy shook his head, his voice barely above a whisper. "Can I just sit inside your cafe for a few minutes? My little brother's in there, and it's warm." His name was Mr. Alcott, founder and CEO of one of the world's most exclusive luxury brands. To the world, he was a man of elegance, tailored suits, sharp words, and a silence that spoke louder than most conversations. He didn't believe in second chances, didn't believe in fairy tales, and he certainly didn't believe in slowing down for anyone who couldn't keep up. That winter, Mr. Alcott arrived in the city for a business conference, the kind of place where every handshake was rehearsed and every smile came with a price tag. He stayed at the most expensive hotel downtown, held meetings in glass towers that overlooked the freezing streets below, and each morning, without fail, he'd stop by the same corner cafe, where the lattes were organic and the croissants cost more than some people made in a day. Inside that cafe, it was warm, golden lights, soft, jazz, the scent of cinnamon and coffee floating in the air. Outside, it was another world entirely. The sidewalks were covered in dirty slush, wind cut through layers like knives, and near the alley beside the cafe door, 2 small boys huddled together beneath a broken umbrella. One of them was Liam. 12 years. Old, no winter coat, no gloves, but eyes that had seen more than most adults ever would. He wasn't like other kids. There were no video games, no bedtime stories, no soft words from a mother tucking him in, just cold nights, half-eaten sandwiches, and the responsibility of keeping his little brother safe. Ollie was only 5. Too young to understand why they were on the streets, too young to know why their parents never came back. Liam had made himself invisible, careful not to cause trouble, careful not to be noticed. But that day, when he spotted the expensive leather wallet fall from the back pocket of the man in the navy overcoat, he made a decision that would change everything. The snow was coming down harder now, swirling like confetti in the wind. Mr. Alcott stepped out of his sleek black town car, his polished shoes crunching over ice. He didn't notice the leather wallet, slipped from his coat pocket. It landed silently in the slush beside the curb. His driver opened the cafe door. Warmth and piano music spilled out. Alcott entered without a glance back. Across the street, behind a row of newspaper racks, Liam saw it happen. The wallet. The man. The moment. He hesitated. A part of him said, "Walk. Away." Another part, the louder one, said, "Do the right thing." Carefully, he picked it up, holding it like something sacred. The leather was smooth, heavy. He didn't even unzip it, just turned and walked toward the cafe. Inside, people barely noticed him at first, just a shivering boy with wet shoes and dirt on his sleeves until he stepped closer to the counter. I think someone dropped this outside," he said, his voice soft. A barista glanced down. Her smile vanished. "Hey, this kid has a wallet," she called out. A man in a suit stood up quickly. "You trying to steal from someone, huh?" Another shouted. "Where'd you get that, kid?" Panic surged in Liam's chest. "I didn't steal it," he said quickly. "I saw it fall. I just wanted to return it." Before anyone could grab him, a deeper voice cut through the noise. Let him speak. It was Mr. Alcott. He stepped forward, eyes narrowing as he looked at the wallet in Liam's hand. He took it, flipped it open. Every card, every bill, untouched. The crowd fell silent. Alcott stared at the boy for a long moment, then reached into his pocket, pulling out several crisp bills. "Here," he said. "Take this." But Liam took a step back. He glanced toward the cafe's far corner, where a small boy sat, curled up against the window, his lips trembling from the cold. Then he looked back at Alcott. "I don't need money," Liam said softly. "I just need my brother to stay warm for a bit." Ollie's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. Liam tore the muffin in half, gave the bigger piece to his brother, and wrapped his own thin jacket around him like a blanket. Then he just sat there, watching him, smiling. From across the room, Mr. Alcott observed. He stirred his espresso absent-mindedly, but his mind was elsewhere. Something about the boy pulled at him. He saw how Liam guarded every crumb, how he gently wiped chocolate from Ollie's chin, how he kept glancing around nervously, like someone who wasn't used to being safe. Finally, Alcott stood and walked over. He stopped by the booth, looked down at the boys for a second, then sat across from them. "You didn't have to bring it back, you know," he said, his voice lower now. "Most people wouldn't have." Liam shrugged. "Maybe." For a long moment, Mr. Alcott didn't speak. The boy's refusal echoed louder than any yes ever could. He folded the bills back into his wallet, then turned to the cafe manager. "Let them stay," he said quietly. "Put it on my tab, and bring them something warm." The manager hesitated, just for a second, then nodded. Liam led his little brother, Ollie, to a booth near the window. They didn't ask for anything, didn't reach for the menu, just sat, as if the seat itself was a luxury. A waitress brought over 1 muffin and 2 hot chocolates. "You didn't even check what was inside?" The boy shook his head. "Didn't need to." Alcott leaned in slightly. "So tell me, why? Why didn't you take anything?" Liam looked up, and for the first time their eyes met. "My mom used to say," he began slowly, "nothing good ever comes from stealing. Even if no one sees it, you do." The words landed like stones in water. Alcott didn't respond right away, because suddenly he wasn't in the cafe anymore. He was back in a dim apartment in Queens, a younger version of himself, hiding grocery store candy in his coat while his mother wept in the next room. He swallowed hard, the memory too sharp, too close. The cafe had quieted now. Outside, the snow kept falling, muffling the world in soft silence. Inside, at the corner booth, 3 lives sat suspended between 2 very different worlds. Mr. Alcott studied the boy across from him. No coat, no complaints, just those tired eyes, too old for 12. "Where are your parents?" he asked gently. His voice had lost its usual sharpness. Now it was careful, measured, almost afraid of the answer. Liam didn't look away, didn't flinch. "Gone," he said simply. "Both of them." He glanced at Ollie, who was now asleep. Cheek pressed to the booth's leather cushion, one hand still holding a piece of muffin like it was treasure. "It's just me and him now. I try not to cause trouble. We stay out of the way." He paused, then added, even softer, "We just needed a little warmth, that's all." Alcott felt something shift inside him, something unfamiliar, something unwelcome, but undeniable. He glanced at Ollie, the small chest rising and falling in uneven breaths. The way Liam instinctively adjusted the jacket so his brother wouldn't be cold. It reminded him of someone, not his past, but who he might have been if someone had stood up for him back then. He looked back at Liam, and for a second, He didn't see a poor kid with messy hair and ragged sleeves. He saw a protector, a brother, a boy doing everything he could with nothing at all. Alcott opened his mouth, closed it. The weight of the moment caught him off guard. "How long have you been out here?" he finally asked. "A while." Liam's voice was calm, matter of fact. "But it's okay. We find warm spots, churches, bus stops. Sometimes people leave. Out food." He wasn't complaining. He was just explaining, and that, somehow, hurt even more. Mr. Alcott leaned back slowly, still composed. Still stoic, but inside, something had cracked. Not shattered, just enough to let the light in. Time had slipped by without notice. The snow outside had thickened. Inside, the warmth of the cafe wrapped around the booth like a blanket. Mr. Alcott glanced at his watch. Meetings, contracts, important people waiting. But for some reason, he stayed. He reached into his wallet again, this time slower. He placed a few crisp bills on the table and slid them toward Liam. "You've earned it," he said softly. "Take it, for food, clothes, whatever you need." Liam didn't move. He looked at the money, then looked at Ollie, still asleep, his small face tucked into Liam's side. The pause was long, but when Liam finally spoke, his voice was calm, like he'd already thought this through 100 times before. "Can I ask for something else instead?" he said. Alcott raised an eyebrow. "Of course." Liam took a breath. Not a nervous one, but the kind you take before saying something that matters. "Can you help him?" He nodded toward his brother. "Get into a real school?" Alcott blinked. "He's smart," Liam added. "Way smarter than me. He just needs a chance, that's all." He looked down at his hands. Rough, calloused, scraped from cold sidewalks and concrete playgrounds. Then he looked back up. "I don't want him growing up like this," he said. "If someone had helped me sooner, maybe I'd be different too." The money on the table sat untouched. Not a single word about toys, not clothes, not shelter, just one request: for his little brother to have a shot at something better. Mr. Alcott didn't know what to say. The man who once negotiated billion-dollar deals with a single phone call sat speechless. Because in that moment he realized this boy wasn't asking for charity. He was offering a mirror, a reflection of what resilience, love, and sacrifice truly looked like, without asking for anything in return. Alcott's mind raced, but for a long while, he didn't reply to the unexpected message. He couldn't bring himself to answer. Too many doubts clouded his mind. The thought of taking responsibility for two young boys who had known nothing but hardship was overwhelming. He had been through his own struggles, and he was unsure if he could provide them the life they deserved. But the next day, something changed. A sleek, black private car pulled up outside the cafe where Alcott had been sitting, staring at the "Yai" message once again. He looked up, his heart skipping a beat as the passenger side door opened. Out stepped a woman, tall, composed, her presence both warm and authoritative. She wore a modest but professional suit, and her eyes, kind yet firm, looked around the street before locking onto him. She was a social worker, a child advocate, and someone who had seen the worst of what the world could offer children. Her name was Eliza. "Mr. Alcott?" she asked softly, her voice calm, yet carrying a sense of urgency. Alcott stood, his palms suddenly sweaty. He nodded. "Yes, that's me. I've been following the situation with the boys, Liam and Ollie. They need someone who can protect them and give them a chance to rebuild their lives." Her words hit him like a wave. It wasn't just about giving them a home, it was about saving their future. "You have a choice now," she continued, her eyes sincere. "You don't have to do this alone. I'm here to offer you a gift." Alcott was taken aback. He wasn't sure what she meant. But her next words made everything clear. We can offer them a safe home, warm beds, food, education, everything. They need to heal. All they need is a chance, and you can be the one to make that decision. The weight in his chest began to lighten, replaced by something unfamiliar: hope. Maybe this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. Maybe, just maybe, this was the right choice. The decision was his to make, but as Eliza stood before him, offering the most priceless gift, Alcott felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in years. He nodded, finally able to speak. "I'll do it. I'll take them in." And just like that, the boys' lives, and his, were about to change forever. 1 week later, Christmas Eve. The cafe, now glowing with festive lights, hosted an intimate dinner party. Guests from the CEO's inner circle gathered around. Among them sat Liam, Ollie, and their new foster guardian, Alcott. The once empty seats now filled with laughter and joy. Ollie's eyes sparkled as he tore open a carefully wrapped gift. Inside was a school acceptance letter, his future suddenly bright. Alongside it, a note from Alcott. "You both deserved a little warmth, and a lot more than that." A tear slipped down Ollie's cheek as he realized their journey had come full circle. The camera lingers on Liam and Ollie, now surrounded by the warmth of a family they never thought possible. The soft hum of Christmas music fills the air, as the room reflects not just the glow of holiday lights, but the light in their hearts. A light sparked by one simple act. Narration closes softly, a quiet truth echoing. Sometimes the smallest act of honesty unlocks the greatest act of humanity. Alcott's decision, born from compassion and truth, had created a ripple effect that transformed lives. It wasn't just about giving them a home, it was about giving them a future. In the end, it wasn't the grand gestures that mattered, but the small choices that lead to something far greater. As the scene fades, the viewer is left with warmth, a few tears, and a sense of hope. Proof that humanity's greatest gift is often the simplest.